So what's your process? What's your process for resolving those challenges?
Well, typically, I want to really get to know the business owner. We've already talked about the fact, are they teachable or coachable? Are they willing to make changes? When you get to the people, are there any people that can't be moved out? Is there a son or a partner that's going to create problems? So we start with the people, and then we start looking at the processes. Really understanding the business, things like what are your true margins? What kind of a marketing process do you have in place? One of the things that we talk about quite a bit in coaching is something called the way to wealth. It's a principle. If I can start to demonstrate ways to increase revenue and profitability for the business through the way to wealth, it's going to get a buy-in a lot sooner. So the process begins with the people, then we go to processes, and probably the most exciting thing, John, about being a business coach, it's not limited to one area, right?
Right.
We're going to touch all aspects of the business. We're going to deal with what the business owner needs at that particular moment. So it could be marketing, it could be a lot of different things, but we're going to be very structured and foundational in what we do.
So going back to the trades team that we were talking about briefly, the challenges that they have, and people, I know you talked about it. I think you're using some assessments to kind of help identify people, solutions, or needs real quickly.
We do use a DISC assessment. There's a lot out there. I've seen all of them, whether it be Myers-Briggs or some of the others. The thing I like about DISC, it's very simple. It's written in plain English. And what I have found, there's huge benefit in helping understand each other's style, if you will. Because the biggest mistake we make, John, in business is I'm going to communicate with you based on my style. And if I don't take the time to learn your style, I won't be as effective. And I've seen dozens and dozens of cases where if I understand that person's styles, or better yet, if the business owner understands just the style of his wife, for example, communication is going to be enhanced. Same thing with employees. I can't treat people based on my style or communicate with them. I have to understand them. So it's a very, very big part of what we do, and it's a great starting point.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. And now, the other one I wanted to catch before we jumped off this topic was profit margin. Trades and small businesses, they don't always really understand that.
That's really true, John. So we look at that, and we look at what a true margin is, and we really help them understand not only the margin on a particular product line, but we look at it across the board. So for example, a plumber might be doing commercial work that's fairly profitable, but for some reason he thinks when he goes into a home, he's got to discount it. So the margins take a beating. What we have to do is understand that in the business world, price is important, but value is more important. Are we delivering the right value? And if we are, then we can easily increase pricing. So understanding margins is a great place to start, and then looking at where we can, improve processes. I mentioned that. How can we buy better? All those sort of things. How can we manage our accounts receivable, accounts payable more effectively? And of course, look at pricing and where we could affect that in terms of just raising prices.
Sure. Well, and it's not just about revenue; it's about profit. It's about what's left over. And sometimes we find folks that they're saying, "Hey, I had great revenue this year, but there wasn't anything left over that's called profit," and then we're missing a large degree of the boat.
Right, and they don't realize at one time sometimes what that difference is. I will ask business owners a lot of times, "Tell me about your margin." They say, "Well, I have to ask my accountant that." That's usually a big red flag for me.
You bet.
Business owners to understand their margins, their profitability, their overhead. I'll ask a business owner, "What's your burn rate?" To me, that how much money do you need to bring in every month just to cover expenses? Because we've got to get beyond that point to what we call beyond break even to be able to start making profitability. But if you don't know what that base number is, then you're never going to be able to figure out how to get above that.
Yeah, you can figure out what your burn rate is on a daily basis if you had to.
Absolutely, and that's the one question I'm going to look at.
Yeah.
Cash in the bank, what's your AR, what's your AP, And that I can generally get a good feel for things, because oftentimes if something happens to the business, they immediately get this myopic, the sky is falling kind of thing. But if I can show them by just doing a better job of collecting on some of the receivables, they're going to be out of the woods kind of thing. But you got to get them refocused, and that's a part of the role we have as a coach, is to be that quiet voice of reason to say, let's just take a look at this. I remember I had a client one time, and I walk in, he says, I'm quitting the business, I'm out. I said, okay, let's talk about it. And by the end of it, he realized he had about $300,000 in accounts receivable he had forgotten about, which is another challenge. But we were able to discover that, and he felt much better about not quitting, if you will, and continued.
Yeah, I'll bet.